Hello, my name is Rusty Ford. I'm the author of a book named Mental Health Recovery. And what I want to share with you today are 20 different gratitude exercises that could change your life. We all, if you've read anything about mental health recovery or spent time researching how to overcome depression or anxiety or any other mental health issue, you've bumped into people talking about gratitude. Gratitude has a ton of power, and it truly has the power to change our life. But it has to become a lifestyle for it to really make a difference. You know, uh, just doing something, once or twice or for a month, you can actually have a benefit. But if you want to get the most benefit, you need to make gratitude a serious part of your life. Our mental health illnesses, such as depression, anxiety, bipolar, our brains tend to look at the negative. It's just something about the condition that makes us focus on that which is negative and ignore that which is positive. In the process of retraining our brains, learning to be grateful and to share gratitude on a daily basis is one of the ways that we can retrain our brain. In my book, Mental Health Recovery, we talk a lot about retraining your brain and how you can change your life so that you live a full and complete and happy life. Well, one of the things that is part of that is learning to be grateful and to express that gratitude. And it's hard because, you know, I remember uh, January 1st, in a mental health group, I made a post asking people to share 3 good things about the last year. And one guy posts, not one thing, not one damn thing all year long. Well, that probably wasn't true. He probably had many things that happened that year that he could be grateful for, but his brain just could not see them. And so, if we truly want to be happy, then we need to learn to retrain our brains so that we think happy. And in that process, you can actually rewire your brain. You can make new brain synapses, new connections between cells. And when you do that, it gives you more life, more energy, easier to find joy. So let's start with the first one of these 20, and that is waking up with gratitude. When I started my journey on mental health recovery, this was the very first thing that I did. You know, I had a horrible self-image. I didn't think anybody really cared about me, or if they really knew me, they wouldn't care about me. Even though I knew that wasn't true, that's what my brain thought. I knew my wife loved me. I knew my kids loved me. I knew my parents loved me. Uh, and they showed it all the time in ways that were extremely obvious, but I was missing it. I had friends that cared for me deeply, but again, I was just missing it. And so the very first thing I did was I started getting up every morning and I would go to the bathroom. I would stop and I'd look in the mirror and say, "Damn, Rusty, you're a good looking guy." I said, "And today is going to be a good day." Now, I didn't know how it was going to be a good day, and my recent history didn't suggest it was going to be a good day, but I was going to start. And the rest of this that I want to share about this, I wish I'd have known at the time. And I think one of the best ways to do this is to make a list of 10 things that you are grateful for and tape them to your bathroom mirror. And so you get up in the morning. I mean, the first thing almost everybody does when they get up is go to the bathroom. They don't go make coffee first. They go to the bathroom first. And so when you do, stop in front of your mirror and have posted on that mirror 10 things that you are grateful for. And you read those out loud to yourself. I am so grateful I have a wonderful wife. I am so grateful for the house that I live in. I'm so grateful. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything phenomenal. It can be, I'm grateful that we've got indoor plumbing. I'm grateful that I've got a heater in my house so I don't freeze. Uh, you know, and I suggest that from time to time you change that list. As you grow in your ability to be grateful, you find deeper things to be grateful about. And so as you begin to realize other things that you are grateful about, you can either add it to that list, or you can replace that list with a different list. And these things don't have to be different. That don't have to be more in depth or more profound. It's just, reminding yourself, of 10 things this month, and next month reminding yourself every day of 10 different things, and the next month 10 more different things. Or you can change that on a weekly basis. Later on, I talk about coming up with a list of 100 things. If you could come up with 100 things and make 10 different lists that you change every week, and every week you're reminding yourself every morning when you get up, that about 10 things that you are grateful for, you will find that over a short period of time, you start seeing a difference. Your day will be brighter. No one, not one of these all by itself is going to radically change your life. And without doing the whole mental health recovery thing, without changing significant things about your life, um, you know, they're limited in how much they can benefit you. But even if you don't do anything else, I do believe that almost every one of you will find benefit if you find 4, 5, or 6 of these things that you seriously do. Not all of them have to be done uh, on a daily or weekly or monthly basis. Some of them can be done just one time. My gratitude journal, that's one of my other books, Thrive Gratitude Journal. Uh, it's a prompted list of things, for you to write about. I am grateful for these people who've been a positive influence. I'm grateful for these people who have been helpful. I'm grateful for these places I've visited, you know, and you write as many things down about those things as you possibly can. Uh, and you could pull things off of a list like that to put on your door. But what I do with this book, with my copy that I filled out, I keep it in my briefcase. And if I start feeling down and I've got a couple of minutes, I pull it out of my briefcase and just flip through it, reminding myself of things that I'm grateful for. When it seems like everything is hopeless, or nothing's can go right, or everything is bad, and my hope gets weak, I pull out my gratitude book and I flip through it and remind myself, gee, I've actually got thousands of things that I'm grateful for. My life actually is a pretty good life, even if I don't feel that is true. The second thing, for those of you who are religious, uh, start your morning with a gratitude prayer. Uh, I come from a Christian background. I'm a retired pastor. This is one of the things I try to do. I read through the Bible, uh, the New Testament, all the way through once a year, and I try to find something in that passage that I read to thank God for. But you could use whatever your faith is, your denomination, your religion. They all have devotional books. And if you search, they probably have devotional books that are based on the positive aspects of your faith. Pick one of those up and flip through it in the morning while you're drinking your coffee. You, you start your day with thankfulness and gratefulness. If you believe there's a creator, and being thankful for the things that your creator has done. If you have inspirational people in your life, writers or people that have been a positive influence, people at work, just anything that you can do to show that gratitude. And that kind of slips into the next one: morning coffee or tea. You know, most of us get up and have something warm to drink in the morning. Well, maybe I should say most of you. I'm one of the exceptions. I am very caffeine intolerant, and drinking a cup of coffee will give me a headache that is excruciating. Yeah, tea doesn't have quite as much, but I'm still not going to start my day off with a cup of tea. Every once in a while, I'll start my day off with a cup of herbal tea, but it's just not a habit for me. But I'm not the only person I know that doesn't start their morning off with coffee or tea. Uh, and some people are in a rush, and they stop by the Starbucks on the way. And it's a little harder to do it that than when you're just sitting down in the quiet and having your first cup of coffee. And you know, this can remind you to be, to either go through a gratitude journal you're doing, or if you journal, this is a good time to journal. I'm not a journaler. That's why I came up with my book, because I needed something that was a one-time thing, because I wasn't going to journal every day. I've tried it 4 or 5 times, and after 3 or 4 weeks of doing it 3 or 4 times during that whole period of time, I realized that this is just not a discipline that is easy for me to do. But you can mix that with the first one. You do your devotional with it. um, you can have a book of inspirational quotes that you do, or you could sit there and hold your cup and be grateful for the warmth on your hands. You could pull it up and you could get that smell of that fresh coffee, and you go, oh, I'm so thankful for the smell of fresh coffee. You could take that first step. You could do what I can't do and be thankful that that caffeine is going to give you a jolt that helps you wake up and get going in the morning. But but that's just setting any type of event like that you do every day as a time to remember, to be grateful. Some people do this, what they may get a cup of coffee on their break, but their morning break is a reminder of a time to be grateful. Yeah, number four is one of my favorites. Uh, I love this exercise. I do it quite often, and almost anytime I'm feeling down, I do this, because you can do this anywhere you're at. You, it's called focused gratitude. And this is where you look around and notice something that you're grateful for or something that you appreciate. I, I'm looking around the room here, and I'm in a little studio that I have in my house. And in my reflection, off, or not really actually reflection, but in the picture on my screen I'm talking to right now, I see my uh, little mural behind me, yeah, full of books. I love books. I love the feel of books. I love to open them up. I love to read them. You know, um, and so I can look somewhere and see a book and start thinking about everything that I love about books. You, you know, uh, there's a keyboard in the studio. Now the keyboard's not my studio. I don't come in here and play music in the studio. My wife comes in here and plays music in the studio. But I look at that. That reminds me of my wife, and I go, and I can spend 5 minutes just thinking about all the wonderful things I love about my wife. And I tell you, you want to improve your relationship, do that with your spouse. Spend time thinking about all the wonderful things that you love about them. Think about why you fell in love with them in the first place. With depression and anxiety, as I mentioned, we tend to gravitate to the negative, and so we notice much more the negative things they do than the positive things they do. And so when you take time to focus on that, um, you could look out your window and see a flower. But in the exercise, once you pick something out, you meditate on how wonderful or beautiful or useful the thing is. And you just reflect on that for a few minutes, and you allow yourself to feel. And you'll notice that quite often, while you're reflecting on the beauty of something, uh, that you can feel your mood changing and elevating. And as you start to feel a little more positive feelings, be thankful and grateful for the fact that that your mood is changing, and that you're having these positive feelings. My wife loves to look at the animals in the yard, and we feed the birds and the squirrels. And so every morning when she gets up, she sits in front of the uh, front window where we feed, and watch the squirrels and the birds. And she is just so grateful during this time of COVID, where we can't go out into nature. Well, we can, but she's fighting cancer right now, and getting out um, is a struggle. So we created this place to be grateful for. And it's so fun watching those squirrels try to get up to the high bird feeder where we put it where they can't get it. And man, they'll do anything to try. And it's just, I just, I just look at all that and I'm so grateful for all the beauty in nature that God has made. And I can reflect on that and start thinking about all the beautiful things in nature and start feeling my mood uplift. If you have time, once you finish the first one, you can move to a second or a third one. But that focus, to take time and focus, I mean, seriously focus on something that you are grateful for. Now, it doesn't have to be an item you look around and see. I could pick up my gratitude journal. I could open it up and see something in there and go, reflect on that. I mean, that is a wonderful thing. I mentioned, uh, you know, uh, people who've made a change in my life is one of the things in that list. And I can pull out somebody who's had a positive change and think about the wonderful things about that person. Think about the wonderful things that I learned and the wonderful changes they helped me make. And that just blesses my socks off. The next one is one you see written about a lot, is writing a gratitude letter. Uh, Once upon a time, that's all you saw, but now it's a gratitude letter, text, or email. It doesn't matter how you write it, and you don't even have to send it to the person. Just the fact that you take the time to write an appreciation letter will affect you. Now, you want to get a great benefit, I mean, even more benefit from it, send it to them. You even want to get a greater benefit from it, print it up and take it to them. You, uh, you, um, and some people even suggest reading it to them. I don't know if you have to go that far, but if it's somebody you really care about, it may be meaningful to both of you for you to read this to them. Or, call them on the phone and said, I was thinking about you and how much I appreciate you. And I wrote this gratitude letter. And I thought instead of just mailing this to you, I would rather read it to you. And, you'll bless yourself and you'll bless them immensely. And number six is really related to this. It's really the same thing, but it's just a little more concentrated. It's called 365 thank you notes. This is a version of gratitude letters. Yes, you're writing thank you or notes. You're writing things to say you appreciate something about somebody. But a guy named John Kralik, um, he felt at the end of the year, he felt his life was falling apart, that there was nothing good. He was really struggling emotionally. And he decided as a New Year's resolution that not resolution, I combined two words and mixed them up and created one that's not even a word at all. I'm really good at that. It's one of my greater gifts. Uh, but he decided as that New Year's resolution that every single day of the year, 365 days, he was going to write a thank you note. And at the end of the year, it has so radically changed his life. He wrote a book about that experience. And now this has become a movement. People who are making this commitment to write 365 gratitude letters or notes. Either one, the gratitude letter or a gratitude note, doesn't have to be long. It could be, I was thinking about you and remembering that I was so grateful for this one thing. If you've got more, you can write more. But just the fact that you're building that gratitude, because when you build gratitude, your brain doesn't have a place for it. Not if you're suffering depression and anxiety. Now, anybody who, whether they suffer depression and anxiety or any other mental health condition, can benefit significantly by learning to be more grateful and expressing it. It can make anybody's life better, but we need it, and it can help rewire our brain. And I guarantee you, if you spend time every day, and these people don't have to be, you can write a thank you note to your mailman and put it in the mailbox. You can write a thank you note and hand it to your barista as she's giving you coffee. Anybody in your life, people at work, people from your past, you have a favorite checker at your grocery store. When you go to the grocery store, get him her line or his line and hand them a note. If you've got a favorite waitress when you go to a restaurant, but anybody that you know that you're grateful for in any way, writing them a note. Now, this is a challenge. This one is an exercise. This one takes work. But if you work at it and do it, I do believe that you will, at the end of the year, you will have one more thing to be grateful for. And that is that you spent a year writing thankful notes. And that may become one of the most important grateful things that you have on your gratitude list, because of the amount of change that it can bring because you're writing these notes. Here's a little one that I like, because we need reminders, because we forget, because we have, if you're like me, and while anybody can listen to this, as I said, and benefit from it, I'm writing this for people with mental health issues, people who struggle with depression, anxiety, bipolar, schizophrenia, borderline personality disorder, PTSD. Our brains are not wired for gratitude. Our brains are not wired for positive thoughts. And so we need reminders at some time to help us remember to be grateful. And so I bumped into this one just yesterday. It wasn't on my list, but I really liked it, so I added it to the list. It's called a gratitude charm bracelet. Now, most guys aren't going to wear charm bracelets. I mean, if you're a guy and you think that's cool, go ahead and get one. But I was really more thinking of women, because women like to. I know a lot of women that love their charm bracelets. But in the a gratitude charm bracelet is one where you get charms that remind you of things that you're grateful for. And so you're sitting there and you're feeling down, and you look down at your wrist. You can start going through your I just want to put your charms. Some of us can so easily lose our train of thought, but go through each one of the little charms and remind yourself of things that you are grateful for. And of course, these charms can be anything you're grateful for. It could be grandchildren, children. It could be a charm about a place that you've been that's meaningful. But and one other thing that I thought, but since I'm not familiar with this, I've never read anything else about it, but I would think that if once a month or so you add a new charm to your bracelet until it's got as many charms as you want your bracelet to have. But I do like that attitude, that little idea. It's a nice little reminder. The next one is kind of a fun one. It's taking a gratitude walk. And a gratitude walk is when you decide to go outside and walk. You don't walk anywhere specific. You don't say, I'm walking, and giving a goal to it. I'm going to walk down to the store. I mean, you can do it while you walk down to the store, but I think it's best when you just go out for a walk, or you could drive to the park and just meander around the park. But you look around and try to find things while you're walking that you're grateful for. And this is not an exercise walk. This isn't a speed walk. Of course, you could combine the two, but the idea behind this is you just kind of meander. You just walk slowly, looking, carefully at everything around you and finding things that you're grateful for. And one of the benefits of this is it reminds our brains that all around us are things that we can be grateful for. I can just walk outside and find 35 things on a walk that I'm grateful for, tells my brain, hey, there's so much to be grateful for. Not, because we don't have to be grateful for things that specifically happen to us. I am grateful for indoor plumbing. I preached a revival when I was in my early 20s in this little town in central Mississippi. And the church did not have indoor plumbing. Only the people who actually lived in the little center of the town. I mean, it was just a crossroads. It was like a grocery store, a gas station, and you know, I think that's it. Yeah, and it wasn't incorporated. I mean, it wasn't really a town. It's just a crossroads in the road, but nobody had indoor plumbing. They all had outhouses. I was so shocked. I mean, this is in the early '80s, or the very late '70s. You, and I didn't think there was anybody anywhere in America that didn't have indoor plumbing. Now, some of them had a sink, uh, you know, uh, uh, in their kitchen with a pump. I didn't know that people still had pumps where they had to pump the water in. And so I am grateful for a hot water heater. I just, I don't have to take a cold shower. I can take a hot one. That's really, part of something to come. But, but in the walk in nature, I mean, birds and animals and butterflies, and I just love dragonflies. And you know, my dad and I grew up fishing together, and in the South, we'd see dragonflies almost every time we went fishing, and a dragonfly just brings back wonderful memories. And so just take that little stroll. Uh, Another thing is a gratitude trigger. This is a pretty simple concept. Uh, you know, you take an object or a picture or anything that reminds you to be to have gratitude or be gratitude or have gratitude about a specific thing, and put it in an obvious place. It could be on your desk at work. It could be on a bathroom mirror. It could be in front of your sink. It could be a rock, just to remind you. Of course, if you type in gratitude rocks, I mean, there's thousands of people that sell rocks with the word gratitude engraved in them. But it could be a picture of your wife, of your grandchildren, and it's not supposed to just remind you to be grateful about your wife or your grandchildren or your house or your car or whatever you have. That's a reminder. It's just a reminder to be grateful, to have gratitude in general. Um, One of my other favorites is to have a gratitude partner, especially if you suffer deep depression and anxiety, along with any other mental health condition. It is hard to think of things that you're grateful for. It's hard to think of things to be thankful for, to see the good things. And so to have somebody sit with you and uh, both of you share the things that you are grateful about in your own lives can be positive. Or that person can share with you things that they see that are good, things that they've noticed about you. It could be qualities about yourself that you don't even realize that you have. uh, Another thing uh, that I know several people have done, personal friends who've gone through my gratitude journal, uh, they go through each prompt, they draw a line down the middle, and they both write things that they're grateful for under each category. And this is the kind of thing that can draw you and your spouse or your girlfriend, boyfriend, your significant other. This is something that can draw you much closer together as you share gratitude together. And so I can recommend that anybody, especially those who suffer, uh, significant depression or anxiety, uh, to find somebody to be your gratitude partner. You know, there's some apps out there based on gratitude. One of the big popular ones is uh, called My Three, and it's where every day you write down three good things about your day. You know, um, uh, this is one, if you have a gratitude partner, that you can share, your gratitude. Um, your good, every day share your good three things, not just by putting it in the app on the phone, but sending it to the other person. And so you mutually encouraging one another. Number 11 is called a gratitude inventory. Uh, and this is where you create a list of 100 things that you are grateful for. and it doesn't have to stop at 100, but I do recommend that you try to find 100. And this is where a gratitude partner may need to be along there with you, because you may have a hard time. And with them sitting there with you, helping you remember, and you can have multiple gratitude partners. You can take this list and go over it with your wife, your parents, your children, and each one of them may find different things uh, that you have just, forgotten or slipped your mind, or just, that you have to be grateful for, and so, I do like the gratitude inventory, and these can be, you know, things that you've experienced, places you can be, people you love, people who've made a difference in your life, you know, uh, things that you just enjoy, smells, taste, nature. I mean, you know, uh, anything that you find beautiful or wonderful in any way can be put on that list. You know, uh, then, after you make it, I encourage you from time to time to look at it to see if you can add to it. Maybe you can come up with 125 and 150 over a year's period of time. Maybe you can come up with 200. If you do the gratitude uh, journal, and I'm going to share a link because you can buy my book. You can also download a PDF of my book for free, or you can download just the list of the 87 gratitude prompts to do it. I mean, I never got into this to make money, but if you have this book, I mean, this is something that you can sit down with somebody, uh, you know, uh, uh, and make a huge list. There's 87. So if you come up with 3 things for all 87, you're going to have 250 things in your book. And that's what the prompts are for, to make you think of things to be grateful for that you just haven't thought about. Number 12. And this one is a gratitude exercise, but it's also, something your psychologist may do with you, is teaching you how to transform negative or ungrateful thoughts. You know, uh, and by transforming a thing, you have this negative thought. I'm so mad at so and so because they said something mean to me today. And you transform and said, yes, I know they said something mean to me today, but that's not their normal character. They're usually supportive, and they've always been there for me. They've always supported me through everything I go through. And that's transforming. Instead of focusing on the negative side of the event, see what positive is in the event. Sometimes, I mean, there may not be anything positive that you can come up with a car accident, other than I didn't die. Well, that's a pretty positive thing, I think. I wasn't mangled up. I'm not in the hospital. I don't have whiplash. Of course, you may have a auto accident and have all those things happen, and you're in the hospital. You can say, yes, accidents happen, instead of going, oh, my life sucks so bad. I had this car accident. Nothing ever goes good. But you can say, I had an accident. Accidents happen. And unfortunately, I'm here in the hospital. But these nurses are taking good care of me. I am so grateful that, since I had an accident, there's a place for me to come, and they're helping me get better. I mean, you really can take almost any situation and find something positive around it. It may not be, somebody comes and punches you in the nose. It might be hard to find something positive about that, you know, but they didn't pull out a knife and stab you or pull out a gun and kill you. You know, uh, you can be thankful that while this guy is a creep, you know, um, most people you meet are not creeps. Yeah, I mean, but just taking that time, and this is one of those daily type of exercises. I mean, this is an exercise. This is something you have to work at. You know, the gratitude stroll through the park is something you just think of and you go do. It's not, I mean, it's not work. This is work, but this is a retraining your brain type of thing. But I included it in specifically because it has to do with things you're grateful for. You know, um, I wrecked my car, but I'm grateful I have a car. I'm grateful I have insurance that's going to fix that car. You know, I'm grateful that, you know, that the dealer, I mean, the repair place gives me a loaner, you know, or the insurance company provides me with a loaner so I don't have to walk or ride the bus to work. You know, I mean, there's, you know, you really can, if you work at it, learn to find positive things all the way around you, even when the main event itself is negative, you know. And so you're not going to say that, well, the first example of the friend that says something mean, you're not going to say, oh, I'm so happy that person said something mean to me, you know, but you can still transform it. You can recognize that there was something negative and still find the positive in around it. You know, my wife doesn't say mean things often, but every once in a while she says something that hurts my feelings. And for the next hour, you know, I'm really hurt. And then, you know, I settle down enough and make myself think of all the wonderful things that I love about this woman. And we've been married uh, in slightly over 3 weeks from the day I'm making this video right now. It'll be our 43rd anniversary, you know. And over the years, I've learned, you know, hundreds and hundreds of things I love about this woman. And if I can focus on those things instead of the hurt, my uh, you know, my mood changes quickly and I enjoy, or I can focus on the negative and it can ruin my whole day or my whole week if I don't ever let go of it. But by uh, transforming this negative thought and finding the positive in and around it, you will find that that can be a huge life changer for you. Then that next one's another little simple one. We don't have to talk about much. It's to create a gratitude collage. You gather photos, images of things, people, knickknacks, you know, whatever can remind you of positive things, and make a collage. You know, you can frame it or you can put it on a bulletin board. Yeah, but it's just somewhere where when you can stop and look at it and, you know, remember that you have things to be grateful for. Now, I really like this next one. I wish I'd have known about this when my kids were growing up. It's called a gratitude whiteboard. You know, and that's where just somewhere in your house, around your kitchen, around your kitchen table, um, it can be anywhere in your house, but I like to put it, you know, if I was to do it with my kids, I'd like to put it somewhere where we could see it from the table. And every day before we eat, you have to write something that you're grateful for about that day. And then at dinner, you go over that list. You know, and this is one of those types of things that can make a huge positive influence on the attitudes of your children as well as your own. Uh, Another little simple one is a gratitude keychain, and they make gratitude keychains. One of the really popular ones is just a keychain with a gratitude rock with the word gratitude written on it. But they have these little things you can add to your keychain that you can get anywhere. It's just it clips on your keychain and it's just a little photo holder, and you can put a little photo in it. You can attach anything to your keychain that's attachable that can remind you to be grateful. You know, that way, every time you take the keys off or pick them up, you're reminded to be grateful. Every time you pull them out of your pocket to stick them in the uh, ignition of your car or open your door, you're reminded to be grateful. Now, this is another one-time thing, and of course you can come and add to it, and it can be more. It's called a gratitude alphabet. And that's where you just try to find something that you're grateful for that begins with every letter of the alphabet. So you're going to try to find 26 things. Now, you know, X may be hard. The only X word that just pops in my mind is xylophones, and I'm just not. I mean, when the little kids, the little bitty ones, and we played, that was fun, and I can remember that. Um, you know, and Z doesn't have many, but I do love nature and I do love zebras. You know, so you know, if you work at it, you can find something for every. And then some of the letters you may be able to find 10 or 15. And I do recommend that you you know come up as many, because the more you come up with, the more you're convincing your brain that life is good and that you've got something to live for. Number 17, getting close to the end here, it's called One Good Thing. And this is where you make a commitment to every single day do at least one thing that you're proud of. You know, and I could spend some time talking about what kind of things you can be proud of, but you can figure out that. It could be tipping, it could be handing a uh, gratitude letter to somebody. Um, any little thing that is helpful or in any way makes you feel proud of being you. You try to do that once every day. Another one that is a lifestyle change is that you will always accept compliments. Even if you don't really know the person and you feel that they may have ulterior motives, um, you can still be wary of that and accept the compliment. If somebody come up and said, "Man, you're a handsome guy," well, that hadn't happened in many years in my case, but I would appreciate it instead of saying, "Oh," you know. And so instead of dismissing compliments, especially from people your spouse, your family, your friends, your boss, your coworkers, accept it. Accept the fact that you are worthy of being complimented, that you are a good person. I mean, this is all about your self-worth. Accept the fact that you are a decent, lovable person and worthy of any compliment that you get. So just accept them. Just make that commitment right now. Every time somebody compliments me, I'm going to accept them. You, um, the next one's a little hard one. And this is probably for many of us. Yeah, not us. I mean, this is not really one of them I struggle with because all my life I've tried to be a blessing to other people. You know, uh, you know, uh, but it's dedicating one day of each week to be a complaint-free day. That means every Monday I'm going to commit myself that not one single time am I going to complain about anything. I mean, that's, when I say it's not my issue, yes, I do complain about things, but I'm just not one of those people that every day, off and on all day, are complaining about things. I have serious pain issues. Uh, and, I live my day without complaining about it, because that negative only makes it, the pain even worse. So I'm always trying to find positive things around me and not things to complain about. I uncomplain, you know, and I just made that up just right here. I ain't not brilliant. I may not be brilliant, but I'm going to assume I'm brilliant. You know, to spend your day you know, uncomplaining. In other words, making compliments instead of complaints, noticing the good things and not the bad. But one day, you know, uh, if you get to where you can do that regularly, you may want to do it 2 days a week or 3 days a week. I mean, that's not necessary. I mean, I'm not saying that it's wrong to complain when you've got something legitimate to complain about. I mean, there's sometimes I have to call a manager at the store or talk to a supervisor or talk to a person, yeah, as a manager in owned companies, there were times that I had to discipline people, you know, um, and, uh, that those were negatives I didn't like. But I always found that when I had to discipline an employee, that if I mix the discipline um, with finding positive in the person too, I might discipline you today, and then tomorrow come by and say, yeah, you know, yesterday was a tough day, but I just want you to know I do notice the good things that you do. I do notice the positive um, uh, things you do for the company, and then list one or two of them. I found that you know um, mixing the two together. I mean, because you know um, you do something in the company you shouldn't do. Uh, you need to be corrected. But to know that the boss appreciates you will motivate you to do a lot. So if you can do that to other people, you will not only see a change in yourself, but you'll see a change in other. And number 20, the last one, make a habit of sincerely thanking people who serve you. Now, this is what I started many years ago. I mean, I started it over 19 years ago because I started it before I developed depression and anxiety. You know, I don't care if it's your barista, your mailman, uh, anybody that serves you anyway, look them right in the eye and sincerely thank them for what they do for you. Or if you know there's somebody going out of the way. I did this in my company. I mean, you know, when something, you know, you, bad, or something that needed to be corrected happened, that happened. We dealt with it. I didn't search for that. I searched every day for the good things I could point out about my employees, and my employees wanted to work for me. And I retired, and then I went back and managed a senior center. You know, and everybody wanted to work for me. We had volunteer programs, and everybody was desperate to move from that volunteer program into a paid position so they never had to leave the senior center. Yeah, well, those opportunities were very few, but some of them decided that because this was a retirement, I mean, a senior center job training program where the volunteers were coming from, and some of them decided that just uh, receiving their Social Security uh, was enough, while they thought they needed more money. Working at the senior center because they were being blessed every day uh, was more important than making more money. And so they stayed on as volunteers after the job training program. And some of them went to work for the job training program and got a job, you know, and then, a year later left that job and came and volunteered at the senior center. So make a habit of sincerely uh, sharing your appreciation for those people around you and those people who serve you. Especially during COVID, man, this has been a big thing. And especially in the early days of COVID, when everybody was, anxious, we didn't know much about the disease, and you're working as a cashier with people coming in front of you all day long. I sure appreciated those people. I appreciated that they were putting their life on the line for me just so that I could eat, just so that I could have food. You know, because they could have all decided I'm going to start searching for a job where I don't have to be in front of a crowd of people. And I really appreciate those. So find a way to share. And so to end it all up, you know, uh, you know, uh, remember, gratitude is a positive thing in your life. Being more grateful will make positive changes in your life, and I encourage you to do so. Uh, if you need a journal, I encourage you to either buy my gratitude journal uh, or download the PDF, which would be, exactly like the book, or the list, and do it yourself. If you want to know more about mental health recovery, um, you know, mental health recovery. This is a pre-production and my name is not on the top of it, but if you type into any search engine, Rusty Ford and mental health recovery, you'll find the book. But you can also just do a search for mental health recovery on the internet and start reading things about mental health recovery. Those things will help you. You don't have to buy something from me. You just need to take the time to read the stuff and start putting the stuff into practice. Well, I wish you the best. God bless. Have a wonderful, full, and rich life.